This is Chapter 5, Magic and Swordsmanship. I'm 5 years old now. On my birthday, my house was held a small party. This country didn't have the custom of celebrating birthday every year. However, the norm was after you reach a certain age, your family members would give you something, would give you a gift, or would give you some gifts. Those certain age points were 5, 10, and 15 years old. It's easy to understand this norm since you become an adult when you turn 15 years old. To celebrate that, Paul gave me a pair of swords. 2 swords. One is a real sword that is too heavy for a 5-year-old child. The other is a short sword, a short wooden sword. A real sword was forged and sharpened. It's not meant for a child to use. Alright. In a boy's heart, there must be a sword to protect the people important to him. I grinned lightly while ignoring his long speech. Even though Paul is very passionate about his speech, he was cut off by Zenith with a too long at the end. Thus, he had to end it with, therefore, you need to put this away carefully and use it only in times of need. Paul probably wanted me to have the resolution and self-awareness to use his sword. I received a book from Zenith. Because Rudeus seems to like books, the book that was given to me is a plant encyclopedia. Couldn't resist laying out whoa! In this world, books are expensive. Even though there is a technique to make paper, there isn't any way to print on them, so most books are handwritten. The encyclopedia is very thick, and there are also illustrations accompanied with it to make it easy to understand. I can't tell how much was spent on this. Thanks, Mom. I always wanted this. And I got hugged tightly after saying that. I received a staff from Roxy, a rod around 30 centimeters in height, with a small ruby-colored stone adorned to the front of it. Their overall appearance was very modest. I created this a few days ago. I forgot about it because Rudeus knew how to use magic from the very beginning. Usually, the teacher will make the staff personally to allow students to use elementary rank magic. I'm terribly sorry about it. There seems to be such a standard. Roxy hates to be called Shisho, but she didn't want to ignore this standard. Yes, Shisho. Yes, Shisho. I will take good care of it. Roxy shows a bitter expression after hearing what I said. The second day, I started practicing real sword techniques. Basically, the primary training is to swing the sword and have a proper stance. Examples include practicing the form and striking the wooden dummies in the courtyard, or having Dad as the opponent while learning footwork and shifting my body weight properly. It is a pleasant feeling to start from the basics. In this world, sword techniques are highly viewed. Even in books, heroes are primarily seen using swords as weapons, though they also use axes and maces. These people belonged to the rare parties. Nobody uses a spear because the primary mentioned Superhard race uses tridents. Spears are weapons of the evil demons, a common knowledge. Even the books have evil demons appearing there as a indiscriminate monster who kills off and devours parties, regardless of friend or foe. Because of such a background, the sword techniques are much more involved here than in the previous world. If you become an expert, you can break boulders with a swing of the sword and even strike down opponents far off in the distance with a sword flash. In fact, Paul could break boulders. I continue to praise him constantly to try and understand how the logic works, letting him demonstrate repeatedly. Paul looked delighted when his young but capable of advanced magic son is happily applauding and praising him. Except no matter the times I saw it, I couldn't understand the logic behind it. Since I didn't understand it, I requested him to explain. Bam! On the ground and swoosh one time. That sort of feeling. Like this? You silly fool. You're booming the ground and kablamming one time, right? You must bam on the ground and swoosh one time. Do it more gently. That kind of feeling. Based on my conjecture, the world's sword techniques contain mana. Compared to magic spells, which could be seen with the eyes, sword techniques are specialized to enhance the physical body, and the metallic components in the sword itself reinforces that aspect. Otherwise, how do you cut boulders before you even finish that high-speed movement? Is that even possible? But Paul isn't conscious of using mana, so he can't explain it to me. But if it can be replicated, perhaps it can be used as boost magic for physical body reinforcement. Or I'll work hard. Part 2. In this world, there are 3 mainstream styles of sword techniques. One of them is the sword god style. The sword technique acts like offensive is the greatest defense. It is a style that places emphasis on striking faster than the opponent, a certain kill that's swifter than swift. If you fail to hit the opponent, then just hit away until you do. If you compare it with the original world, it's like a style from the Satsuma Prefecture. The second is the Water God style. This style is the complete opposite of Sword God style, a defensive style that builds its foundation upon parrying and countering. As the style primarily focuses on defense, moments where one takes the initiative to attack are rare. When you reach the Saint rank, you can counter any attack, any kind of an attack. Any kind of attack, including magic and projectiles? It is a necessary style for classes like the Palace Knights or Nobles, where the goal is to protect someone. The third one is the North God style. Rather than saying the style uses sword techniques, it is better to describe it as a way of fighting. No special techniques, merely react based on the situation. According to Paul, even though it's based on reactions, it also relies on feints and usage of one's surroundings. This really is something fantastical. It gives off like Jackie Chan vibes. The North God style also includes the healing wounds and being able to battle when afflicted with disabilities. Therefore, it is popular among mercenaries and adventurers. These 3 styles are called the 3 major styles, and there are people in the world who use all 3 styles. A swordsman who hopes to become an expert in every style and swing the sword until death, but that type is rarely seen. If you want to quickly become strong, it is common to just start off with the strong points of each style. Paul primarily uses the Sword God style, but he's also capable of using the Water God and North God style. If you only rely on the Sword God style or the Water God style, you will find it insufficient when you roam the outside world. Just to add on, the sword techniques are also ranked: elementary, intermediate, advanced, saint, king, emperor, god, and each style already has god in their name. Even if a elementary ranked Water God style swordsman can also use Water God ranked magic, also, you usually call a swordsman Water God or Water Saint. For a magician, you need to add that it's ranked, like Water God ranked or Water Saint ranked. For example, Roxy is Water Saint ranked magician. Part 3. I have to learn 2 styles, the Sword God style and the Water God style. Defensive Sword God and defensive Water God. But, Dad, based on what you said, isn't the North God style the most balanced? Don't be foolish. That's just using a sword to fight. It's not a technique. I see. The treatment is that bad of the North God style? Or is it that Paul detests it? Well, even though he hates it, Paul still has an advanced rank in North God style. Rudeus, you have the talent for magic, but there's no drawbacks in learning sword techniques. Become a magician who can avoid the Sword God style's attacks. Like a magic swordsman. A magic swordsman. A magic swordsman is a swordsman who uses magic. In your case, it's the opposite, right? What's the difference? Even if it's based on a warrior or magician profession, a magic swordsman is still a magic swordsman. No matter what, learning the sword techniques can be applied to magic itself. The problem is that Paul unconsciously strengthens his body, so he can't teach me. Looks like I need to learn it myself, but can I really learn it by just training the body alone? Oh wait, you do hate the sword techniques, right? Paul asks me with a unsettled expression as I lapse into deep thought. Because I am praised as gifted with magic after all, Paul is agonizing over whether I'm willing to learn sword techniques. But don't get me wrong, I don't hate learning sword techniques. I just like learning from Roxy more than having two stinking males in the courtyard drenched in perspiration. I'm an indoor type. Even though this isn't a question that I like, since I already decided to live in this world seriously, I'll have to put in my effort whether it's sword technique or magic. No, I hope to have sword skills on the same level as my magic. Paul becomes moved by my words and nods happily and picks up the wooden sword. Good. Then we will start right now. Attack me. He's such a straightforward guy. Magic techniques or sword techniques. I'm not sure what I should have as my primary focus in the end. Honestly, it doesn't matter. Alright. Yes, Dad. But it's good to be filial my parents early. Back in the past, I was still bothering my parents when they died. If I treated my parents better, my siblings wouldn't have chased me out of my house, so I need to treat them with importance. Part 4. As I take my first step into the sword techniques, my magical lessons have progressed into practical uses. If you activate Waterfall, Heat Island, and Icicle Field in this order, what will happen? You will create fog. Indeed. Then how do you dispel the fog? Well, reheat the earth again. Correct answer. Then go ahead and try again. Creating the current situation with various magic spells in a specific order. This is called melded magic. Although how to summon rain is recorded in the textbook, there aren't any notes on how to create fog. Therefore, a magician will use different magic systems in a specific order. In doing so, one can replicate a natural phenomenon. There are no microscopes in this world. Natural phenomenons are not explained. Melded magic contains the past magician's creativity and hard work. Well, I don't need to do something so troublesome. As long as you produce clouds and make it rain near the ground, it will suffice. But a man-made phenomenon allows one to understand it easily. You ponder on things you can't do a lot. Might be too difficult on my mind, though. Magic can really do anything. It can't do everything. Don't put your trust into it so much. Please calmly do what you can possibly achieve. Even though Roxy refutes me, my mind has stuff like railguns and cloaking devices popping up. Also, if you brag and say that you can do everything, people will push impossible tasks onto you. Is that Sensei's experience? Yes. I see. I should take note of this. It would be troublesome if I was forced. But are there people who force things on magicians? Yes, because there aren't many advanced ranked magicians. Out of every 20 people, only one can take up combat. Out of every 20 of these people, only one is a magician. Something like that. A magician is 1 out of 400? Even though it's not rare to be a magician, and a human graduating from a magic school, as an advanced ranked magician, it's about 1 in 100. With the ability to use intermediate and advanced ranked magic to make melded magic, the number of things that can be done will increase immensely. Therefore, there are prodigies who are highly sought after by every faction. This country's home tutor must also possess advanced magic and above. Is a powerful effect for one's position? There are magic schools? Yes, only big countries will have magic schools. Come to think of it, I always felt there would be something like magic school. Is it about to start? The school arc? But the biggest is probably the university in Renoa. Oh, there's a university too? What's the difference between university and other schools? There are very good facilities and teachers compared to the other locations and can receive higher quality lessons. Did Sensei come from there too? Yes, well, magic schools are usually places that require high social standing. As a demon race, I can only enter magic universities. As nobles go, as nobles go to Renoa Magic School, it isn't a place where non-human races can enter. Even though discrimination against the demon races is dwindling, the way of doing things hasn't changed completely. Renoa's university doesn't require high social standard or pride. Even if you have some crazy theories, you will not get rejected as long as the logic is correct. Also, due to the acceptance of various races, there is also research done on magic unique to specific races. If Rudeus wants to start on the road of magic, I would suggest entering the Magic University. Is it because it was her alma mater? Roxy keeps praising the university. Well, that's something for the future. I might get bullied if I enter it at the age of 5. It's still too early to make a decision. That's true. I think following Paula's direction, becoming a swordsman or a knight isn't bad. There are also people who are knights and study in the Magic University. Please don't think that you have to only choose the sword of Please don't think you have to only choose the sword or magic path. You can also choose the route of a magic swordsman. Yes. It seems that she is the opposite of Paul. Roxy isn't unsettled by whether I hate magic or not. Recently, my mana capacity has increased, and I'm starting to understand the principles. Due to that, my attention during classes is starting to wane. Moreover, I started taking magic lessons when I was only 3 years old. I'm starting to get sick of it. Maybe I'm being misunderstood. Paul saw my magic talent. Roxy saw my passion for the sword. Two people with their different reasons pointed the middle road out for me. But this is something very far away. To Rudeus, it is indeed. Roxy smiles with a hint of loneliness. But I am almost out of things to teach you. When you're nearing graduation, this matter should be discussed. Graduate? Okay, that's the end of the